Hi, I'm Don Mackey, LCAT Director and Town Resident, and I just got my tax bill in the mail last week. And when I opened that envelope and saw that the amount due had jumped up $100 from my November tax bill, I said, I've got to do something about this. So I'm finally making a video to explain it. The fact is, every January when third quarter tax bills come out, property owners end up mystified as to why they show a sudden increase. And they wonder, what happened over the holidays that made my taxes go up? Using my tax bill as an example, I hope this video gives you some insight into how all of this works. So the first thing I'm going to look at is that big bold number in the amount due box, $1325.98. That doesn't sound right. My November tax bill was only 12 something. So I go back and look at my receipt from November 1st. And here it is, $1222.03. That's a $100 increase per quarter. Does that mean my taxes went up $400 all of a sudden? No, it doesn't. They went up $200 for the property tax year that began July 1st and will end on June 30th. And I have to pay that in the last two installments because the information required from the state to calculate the amount of increase for the tax year wasn't yet available to the town when the first two installments were billed. What information would that be, you ask? Good question. Let's start here. In the upper left corner of my tax bill is a note that says, based on assessments as of January 1st, 2019, real estate tax for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019 and ending June 30th, 2020 on the parcel described below. Then it gives a description of the property and the tax rate per $1,000 of valuation as $20.84. So there's two key pieces of information right there that the town didn't have when it sent out the first two installment bills. The valuation as of January 1st of last year and the tax rate. And that's basically what your tax bill is. So if I look at my November tax bill, sure enough, it says your preliminary tax for the fiscal year. But there's no assessed value nor a tax rate shown anywhere on the bill, because the values determined by the assessors as of last January 1st and submitted to the state to be certified as accurate had not been so certified. So the town couldn't use them to bill taxes in July and October, and without certified values, the town could not calculate the tax rate. So the town calculates 1/2 of the amount owed last year and divides it into two installments for the first two bills of the new fiscal year. So now on this new third quarter bill, there's a box titled Fiscal Year 2020 Actual Real Estate Tax Bill, and it shows my total value for 2020 is $243,100. And that's up from last year, but there's no value shown on my November preliminary bill, so I don't really know how to figure out how much of that increase is because of my values going up and how much of it is because of the tax rate. If I have my third quarter bill from last year, I can compare, or I can look up my property record online. So I'm going to go to eastlongmeadowma.gov. I'm going to click on Government, Departments, Assessors, and here's the assessor's page. Might look a little different depending on your browser. And before I get to the property information, I just want to note this link that says how the FY 2020 tax rate was determined. If you open that, there's this chart that explains very clearly and simply how that happens. But that's the subject of our next video, so I'm going to leave that for now and go next to this link on the right that says how to figure your quarterly real estate tax bill. That takes me to a separate page with a link for the quarterly real estate tax worksheet. The worksheet comes up And I'm just going to print a copy and then go back to the main assessor's page to find my property information. And that's either on the side here under quick links or down below. And again, it will depend on how your browser displays the page. A notice comes up saying that you're leaving the town website. Click Proceed to Site. The new Town GIS Hub page opens, and the first item listed is the Parcels app. Click on the Explore tab of the Parcels app, and a disclaimer appears that explains that the mapping information that's provided is not adequate for legal boundary definitions, etc., etc. Agree and click OK. So then I'm just going to search by address, 12 Colony Drive, and voila, here's the information panel for my property. Now, this is the 2020 card. So this is all the information about my assessment for the current fiscal year. I want to find last year's assessment information, so I go back one step into the info panel, and I can click on 2019, and there's the same card with last year's value. So I can compare and see that my value has gone up $6,600. Why? I certainly haven't made $6,600 in improvements in the past year. Virtually nothing has changed. So that's a question I'm going to put to Diane Bishop, Director of Assessing for the town of East Long Meadow. My first question, Diane, is why did my value go up?
So based on the market in East Long Meadow for all properties that sold in calendar year 2018, we found that the real estate market increased on an average of 3%. So every residential real estate property across the board went up on an average of 3%.
Okay, so now I have an explanation of why my value went up. What about the tax rate?
So the tax rate increased approximately 29 cents per thousand, and that equates to approximately 1.4% of a tax increase. And the remaining 3%, which the values increased, made up the remaining amount to equal about a 4.4% increase in actual taxes.
Note that there's no tax rate information on the property record, only information related to the assessment. That's because the assessors don't levy the taxes. They only determine the value. The collector's office prepares the tax bills by applying the tax rate per $1,000 of assessed value to calculate the amount due. So this year's tax rate is $20.84. Last year's tax rate was $20.55. So the tax rate went up, my values went up, therefore my tax bill went up. So I've got my explanation as to why my values went up, but why'd the tax rate go up? Well, the answer to that is in the next video.